The morning sky above NASA's Deep Space Monitoring Station was clear blue when Dr. Elizabeth Morgan spilled her coffee. Her eyes were fixed on a computer screen, not believing what she was seeing. "Hey Joe, can you check these readings?" she called to her colleague. Joe Franklin pushed his chair across the room and peered at her monitor. "That's not possible," he muttered. The energy signatures near Jupiter's orbit were unlike anything in their database. The patterns pulsed with regularity that suggested intelligence rather than natural phenomena. Within hours, every major observatory on Earth pointed their instruments toward the anomaly. Government officials were briefed. Military forces went on quiet alert. At precisely 3:47 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it happened. A massive wormhole opened near Jupiter's orbit, and through it emerged a ship of impossible size. Early estimates put it at nearly 5 miles long, with a strange crystalline structure that seemed to both absorb and reflect light. Dr. Morgan watched the live feed with her heart racing. "We're not alone anymore," she whispered. The alien vessel took position just beyond the moon's orbit and remained silent for 13 tense hours. World leaders gathered in emergency session. Religious leaders called for calm. Regular broadcasts were interrupted with updates that offered little information. Then, at dawn the next day, every communication device on Earth simultaneously received the same message, translated into each region's dominant language. "Greetings from the Galactic Council. We come in peace and fellowship to welcome humanity to the interstellar community." Initial panic gave way to cautious excitement. Humanity had wondered for centuries if they were alone in the universe. Now they had their answer. President Wilson addressed the nation with measured words, calling for calm and unity. Similar messages came from leaders around the world. For once, Earth's nations found common ground in this historic moment. Captain Frank Harris received the call while teaching at the Space Academy. As one of Earth's most experienced spaceship commanders, he was being assigned to lead first contact operations. "I need your best diplomatic face, Frank," said Admiral Chen over the secure line. "We're assembling a team to approach their vessel once the Security Council gives approval." Frank looked out his office window at the blue sky. "Do we know what they want?" "They say they want to invite us to join something called the Galactic Council. Some kind of interstellar United Nations, from what we can tell." 3 days later, Frank led a small craft toward the alien vessel. His crew included 2 diplomats, a xenobiologist, and 2 military specialists. All had been chosen for their calm under pressure. The alien ship dwarfed their shuttle. As they approached, a section of the crystalline hull seemed to dissolve, revealing an entry bay. "Well, that's an invitation if I ever saw one," Frank said, maneuvering into the opening. Inside, they met the Trulaxians, tall, slender beings with iridescent skin and 4 arms. Their leader introduced himself as Ambassador Zorax. "We have watched your species with great interest," Zorax said through a translation device. "Your recent development of faster-than-light capability has qualified Earth for consideration as a protected member world of the Galactic Council." The human team exchanged glances. This was moving faster than expected. "The Council governs 342 species across this arm of the galaxy," Zorax continued. "We maintain peace, facilitate trade, and protect developing worlds like yours from exploitation." Later, as world leaders debated the invitation in an emergency United Nations session, Dr. Morgan reviewed the data from the encounter. "Something doesn't add up," she told her supervisor. "Their technology is centuries beyond ours, but they're treating us like equals diplomatically." In Washington, Paris, Beijing, and Moscow, leadership councils met through the night. The invitation to send representatives to the Galactic Council headquarters, located in a space station called Nexus in a nearby star system, required an answer. Humanity stood at a crossroads, unaware that their response would send shockwaves through galactic politics and change the course of interstellar relations forever. 3 months passed since the massive alien ship appeared near Earth. The world had changed overnight. News channels talked about nothing else. Children played with toy spaceships shaped like the Tralaxian vessel. Scientists worked day and night to understand the small pieces of technology the aliens had shared. After many meetings, Earth's leaders finally agreed to send representatives to the Galactic Council. The newly built starship Horizon would carry Earth's first diplomatic mission to the stars. Ambassador William Shaw stood in front of the ship, facing a crowd of reporters. At 58, his gray hair and calm voice made people trust him. "We carry the hopes of all humanity with us," he said into the microphones. "This journey marks our first step into a larger community." Behind him stood the rest of the team. Dr. Lisa Rodriguez, a top scientist who studied alien life. General Alan Peters, who would advise on security matters. Linda Collins, an expert on human cultures who would help understand alien ones. And Jack Nelson, who had an amazing ability to learn languages. What the public didn't know was that not everyone trusted the Tralaxians. In a secured room deep under the Pentagon, intelligence officer Mary Winters frowned at her screen. "They're hiding something," she told her supervisor. "I've detected signals from the Tralaxian ship to locations beyond our solar system. They don't match the communication patterns they've shown us." Her boss sighed. "Do you have proof?" "Not yet," she admitted, "but something feels wrong." When Mary shared her concerns with Ambassador Shaw before launch, he listened politely but didn't seem worried. "Even if they have private communications, that's normal diplomacy," he said. "We don't share everything either." Mary wasn't convinced. "Just be careful," she said. "And take this." She handed him a small device. "It can detect communication signals our regular equipment might miss." 3 days later, the Horizon left Earth's orbit. The ship used the new faster-than-light engine based partly on Tralaxian science. The journey would take 2 weeks to reach Nexus Station, where the Galactic Council met. On the 5th day of travel, Jack Nelson couldn't sleep. The language expert sat in his small room, listening to recordings of Tralaxian speech. Something caught his attention. Subtle patterns that didn't translate. He spent hours analyzing them. And by morning, his face was pale. "Ambassador," he said when he found Shaw at breakfast, "I found something in their language. Secondary meanings hidden in their vowel tones." Shaw put down his coffee. "What kind of meanings?" "They use words like guide and protect when talking to us, but there's an undertone that more closely means manage or control." General Peters leaned forward. "That sounds concerning." Dr. Rodriguez joined the conversation. "Maybe it's just a cultural difference in how they see protection." Nelson shook his head. "I'm not sure, but I think we should be more cautious." As days passed, more strange things happened. Linda Collins noticed that the information about other council species seemed carefully edited. Dr. Rodriguez found that the biological data on humans the Tralaxians had collected was focused strangely on resource consumption and physical limitations. On the final day before arrival, Mary's device detected a surge of hidden communications from the Tralaxian escort ship traveling alongside them. "They're sending our complete scan data somewhere," General Peters said, looking at the readings, "including our weapons capabilities, life support systems, and technological analysis." Ambassador Shaw frowned. "That could be standard procedure for new species. Or they're assessing our strengths and weaknesses," Peters replied. The debate was cut short as the navigator called over the intercom. "We're approaching Nexus Station, Ambassador. You might want to see this." They gathered at the bridge windows and stared in amazement. Ahead floated an enormous ring-shaped structure bigger than Earth's moon. Ships of all shapes and sizes moved around it like bees around a hive. "The Galactic Council headquarters," their Tralaxian guide announced proudly. "Your new home among the stars." As the Horizon approached, Ambassador Shaw couldn't help but wonder if they were walking into something far more complicated than a simple diplomatic meeting. The Horizon docked at Nexus Station with a gentle bump. Ambassador Shaw took a deep breath as the airlock doors opened. This was humanity's first step into galactic politics. A group of aliens waited for them. In the center stood Zorax, the the Trilaxian they had met before. Next to him was a blue-skinned being with tentacle-like hair that seemed to float in the air. "Welcome to Nexus Station," Zorax said. "This is Kelthera of the Veldorian Empire, our trade minister." Kelthera bowed slightly. "We are pleased to welcome Earth to our community." A bird-like creature stepped forward next. It had bright feathers and sharp eyes. "I am Miplex, defense coordinator for the Council. Your arrival is most timely." The human delegation followed their hosts through wide hallways filled with strange beings. Some looked almost human, while others seemed impossible. Clouds of gas contained in floating suits or crystalline structures that moved on their own. "How many species are part of the Council?" Dr. Rodriguez asked. 342 full members, Zorax replied, "and 27 protected species, which Earth will soon join." Linda Collins noted how he said this as a fact, not a possibility. The delegation was led to a large round chamber. Hundreds of different aliens sat in rising rings of seats, all facing a central platform. When the humans entered, a low murmur spread through the room. "The Council is honored by Earth's presence," announced a tall, gray being from the central platform. "I am High Speaker Dravox. Today marks a historic occasion, the welcoming of a new protected species to our ranks." Ambassador Shaw stepped forward. "We are grateful for the invitation, but have many questions before making any commitments." A strange silence followed. Several council members exchanged glances. "Of course," Dravox said finally. "But the protection status is a great honor. It comes with many benefits: technological sharing, defense from hostile forces, trade opportunities." Over the next few hours, the humans were shown presentations about life as a protected species. They saw images of peaceful planets with smiling aliens and charts showing economic growth. During a break, General Peters pulled Shaw aside. "Something isn't right," he whispered. "I've been watching their defense ships through the observation windows. They're built for planetary bombardment, not protection." Dr. Rodriguez joined them. "I've been talking with the medical representatives. They seem unusually interested in Earth's water resources and mineral deposits." Shaw nodded. "I've noticed the other protected species representatives seem submissive. They don't speak unless spoken to." Zorax approached before they could discuss further. "The Council will vote on Earth's protection status in 3 Earth days. We expect a unanimous approval." 3 days isn't much time to understand such an important agreement," Shaw replied. Zorax's face showed the Trilaxian version of a smile. "The terms are standard for all protected worlds. There is nothing to worry about." That evening, the humans gathered in their private quarters. "We need more information about these protected species," Shaw said. Jack Nelson nodded. "I might be able to help with that. I've made friends with a maintenance worker, a Palaxian named Kreb. He's given me access codes to some of the station's archives." "Is it safe?" Linda asked. "No," Nelson admitted, "but we need to know what we're getting into." Late that night, while the others slept, Nelson slipped out. Using Krebs codes, he entered a data center and connected his device to the station's network. What he found made his blood run cold. Historical records showed that every protected species eventually became little more than a resource provider for the Council. Their planets were slowly stripped of valuable materials. Their people became workers in Council factories and mines. And if they resisted, Nelson downloaded as much information as he could before hurrying back. He needed to warn the others. As he rounded a corner, he almost ran into Miplex, the bird-like defense coordinator. "Human," Miplex chirped. "Why are you accessing restricted areas during rest period?" Nelson forced a smile. "Just exploring. Everything is so fascinating." Miplex's eyes narrowed. "Indeed. Return to your quarters. This section is not for guests." As Nelson walked away, he could feel Miplex watching him. The clock was ticking. Earth had 3 days to decide. But now he knew what the wrong choice would mean. Jack Nelson burst into their quarters, his face pale. The rest of the delegation gathered quickly as he connected his device to the room's display screen. "What I'm about to show you changes everything," he said, his voice low. Images and text filled the screen. Historical records of 17 different species that had become protected by the Council. "Look at the pattern," Nelson explained. "Each species starts with celebrations and promises of prosperity. 5 years later, they sign resource agreements. 10 years later, their planets have mining operations run by Council corporations. 20 years later, they're basically servants." Ambassador Shaw leaned forward, studying the data. "Are you certain this is accurate?" Nelson nodded. "These are their own records, just kept away from public access." Dr. Rodriguez pointed to a chart. "Earth has something many Council worlds lack: abundant liquid water and rare minerals. We're a resource jackpot for them." General Peters cursed quietly. "And they've already scanned our defense capabilities. They know exactly how to overcome them." Linda Collins had been quiet, but now she spoke up. "I've been analyzing their cultural messaging. The way they communicate with protected species is different from how they talk among full members. It's subtle manipulation, making the protected species feel grateful while slowly taking control." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. "We have to refuse their offer," Shaw said finally. Peters shook his head. "Did you see their fleet? If we simply refuse, they could decide to take what they want by force." "We need to contact Earth," Rodriguez suggested. "Warn them." Nelson grimaced. "Our communications are monitored. I confirmed that last night." A soft beep from Shaw's pocket interrupted them. It was Mary Winter's detection device, showing an incoming message. Shaw activated it carefully. Mary's face appeared in a small hologram. "Ambassador, we've detected unknown ships in Earth orbit. Small vessels, cloaked, but definitely using Trilaxian technology. Whatever you're discussing up there, they're already positioning assets around Earth." The message ended abruptly. Shaw looked at his team, his face grave. "They're not waiting for our answer," he said. "They're already preparing." Linda stood up. "We need to learn more about how the Council operates. There must be divisions, political factions we can exploit." "I noticed tension between some species," Nelson agreed. "Not everyone seems happy with how the Trilaxians run things." That afternoon, Shaw requested a meeting with Zorax. They met in a garden area filled with plants from many worlds. "We have concerns about the protected status," Shaw said carefully. Zorax's expression didn't change. "It is natural to have questions. Change can be frightening for young species. We've examined the histories of other protected worlds," Shaw continued. "Their outcomes seem less favorable than your presentation suggested." A flash of something crossed Zorax's face. Surprise, perhaps anger. It vanished quickly. "Every species develops differently under protection," he said smoothly. "Some require more guidance than others." "Guidance or control?" Shaw asked. Zorax's voice hardened slightly. "Earth is primitive by galactic standards, Ambassador. Your technology is basic. Your defenses are minimal. The galaxy contains dangers you cannot imagine. Without Council protection, there are species who would see your world as simply a resource to be harvested. Isn't that what the Council plans to do, just more slowly?" Zorax stood. "I suggest you consider your position carefully, Ambassador. The Council's offer is generous. Not all species receive such patience." He turned to leave, then paused. "The vote is in 2 days. I hope you will make the wise choice for your people." After Zorax left, Shaw sat alone for a long moment. The threat had been clear. Back in their quarters, the team debated through the night. Direct refusal seemed dangerous. Acceptance was unthinkable. "What if we could expose them?" Linda suggested. "Show other species what the Council really does." Nelson nodded slowly. "And what if we're not the only ones who are unhappy with how the Council operates?" A plan began to form. Risky, unprecedented, but possibly their only hope. On Earth, Mary Winters watched the alien ships with growing concern. Something big was coming, and she feared Earth wasn't ready. The grand chamber of the Galactic Council sparkled with light from 1,000 stars visible through its transparent dome. Delegates from hundreds of worlds filled the tiered seats. At the center stood a raised platform where Earth's representatives would soon make history. Ambassador Shaw adjusted his formal suit as he waited with his team in the preparation room. "Everyone knows what to do," he asked one final time. General Peters nodded. "The horizon is ready. Captain Miller will respond to my signal." Linda Collins tapped her hidden device. "Broadcasting system is set. Every species will hear us in their own language. Once this starts, there's no going back," Dr. Rodriguez reminded them. Jack Nelson smiled. "That's the idea." A soft chime indicated it was time. The doors opened, and they walked into the chamber together. The murmur of hundreds of alien voices fell silent as they approached the platform. High Speaker Drevox addressed the assembly. "Today marks a historic occasion. Earth will formally accept protected status and join our galactic family." Ambassador Shaw took his position at the speaking platform. The eyes of the galaxy watched him. "Distinguished members of the Council," he began, his voice calm. "Humanity is honored by your attention and invitation." Zorax watched from his position among the Trilaxian delegation, his expression confident. "For thousands of years," Shaw continued, "humans have looked to the stars and wondered if we were alone. Now we know we are part of something larger. This knowledge has changed us forever." Many council members nodded in approval. This was the speech they expected. However, Shaw's tone shifted subtly. "Humanity has always valued one thing above all else: freedom." Zorax straightened in his seat. "After careful consideration of your generous offer," Shaw said, his voice growing stronger, "Earth must respectfully decline protected status within the Galactic Council." The chamber erupted in shocked outbursts. Nothing like this had happened in living memory. No species had ever refused protection. "Order," Drevox called, banging a ceremonial staff. "Order in the council." When the noise subsided, Zorax stood. "Perhaps our human friends misunderstand the nature of our offer. Protected status is not optional for developing worlds. It is required for galactic stability." "We understand perfectly," Shaw replied, "which is why we must refuse." With a nod to Nelson, the chamber's main display activated. Images appeared showing the decline of worlds under protection. Once beautiful planets now scared with industrial mining. Species reduced to servitude. "These are your own records," Shaw explained as gasps spread through the chamber. "This is what protection truly means." Linda activated her device, broadcasting directly to all translation systems. "To all species hearing this, Earth stands for true independence, not exploitation disguised as protection." Several delegates from smaller worlds stood in support. Others looked confused or angry. Drevox banged his staff again. "This is outrageous. Security, detain the Earth delegation." General Peters pressed a hidden button on his wrist. Throughout the station, small devices planted by Nelson began emitting signals that disrupted security systems. "Earth will chart its own course among the stars," Shaw declared as council guards rushed toward them. "And we invite any world that values true freedom to join us." Myplex, the defense coordinator, barked orders into a communicator. "Lock down their ship, prevent their escape." But on the horizon, Captain Miller had received Peter's signal. The ship's engines fired up, breaking free from docking clamps. "The humans are escaping," someone shouted. Shaw's team fought their way through confused guards, heading toward emergency escape pods Nelson had identified earlier. Linda's voice continued broadcasting throughout the station. "The Council has lied to you all. We have proof. Earth chooses freedom over servitude. Who will join us?" As they ran, they saw screens throughout the station showing their message spreading. Some alien workers stopped to watch. Others began arguing with Council security. "It's working," Rodriguez said breathlessly as they reached the escape pods. Behind them, alarms blared. Peters sealed the pod door just as laser fire struck the wall nearby. "Humanity doesn't bow to tyrants," Shaw said as the pod launched toward the waiting horizon. "Not even galactic ones." As their pod raced away from Nexus Station, they could see Council ships beginning pursuit. But the first seed of rebellion had been planted among the stars. The humans had refused diplomacy, and the galaxy would never be the same. The horizon burst out of faster-than-light travel near Earth, alarms blaring throughout the ship. 3 Council vessels followed close behind, weapons charged and ready. "Send the emergency code now," Ambassador Shaw ordered as the ship shook from a near miss. Captain Miller's hands flew across the controls. "Sending it. Let's hope Earth is ready." For 3 days, they had raced home, staying just ahead of the Council pursuit ships. Dr. Rodriguez had treated 2 crew members injured during their escape from Nexus Station. "Incoming transmission from Earth Defense Command," the communications officer announced. Admiral Richard Lee's face appeared on screen. "Welcome home, Horizon. I see you brought some unwelcome guests." Shaw leaned forward. "Admiral, the Council is hostile. Their ships will attack." "We've been preparing since we got Mary Winter's warning," Lee replied calmly. "Stand by." As the Council ships closed in, suddenly dozens of points of light appeared around Earth's orbit. "What is that?" Linda Collins asked, pressing her face to the viewport. General Peters smiled for the first time in days. "Those are our new orbital defense platforms." Earth wasn't as helpless as the Council thought. The defense platforms activated, sending warning shots across the paths of the Council vessels. The alien ships slowed, clearly surprised by Earth's unexpected defenses. "This is Admiral Lee to approaching vessels." Lee's voice boomed across all channels. "You have entered Earth-protected space without permission. Power down your weapons or be destroyed." On the lead Council ship, Commander Mitplex screeched in anger. "How is this possible? Their technology shouldn't be this advanced." The Council ships held position, outgunned, and unsure how to proceed. "They're requesting communication," Lee told the Horizon. Minutes later, in Earth's orbital command center, Shaw faced Mitplex on the screen. "Your actions are an outrage," Mitplex said. "The Council will not tolerate this rebellion." "This isn't rebellion," Shaw replied. "Earth was never part of your Council. We simply declined your offer. Your primitive world cannot stand alone against the galaxy." Shaw smiled. "We don't plan to stand alone." Reports were already coming in from across the galaxy. The humans' broadcast from the Council chamber had spread to many worlds. 3 other protected species had contacted Earth secretly, interested in alliance. "Earth is now under quarantine," Mitplex declared. "No Council world will trade with you. No Council ship will aid you. You have chosen isolation." "We've chosen freedom," Shaw corrected. "And we're not the only ones." After the Council ships retreated, celebrations broke out across Earth. People flooded the streets, cheering humanity's stand against alien control. But in the White House Situation Room, the mood was serious. "The Council won't give up easily," Mary Winters explained, showing intelligence reports. "They've already sent agents to Earth. We caught 2 trying to sabotage our defense systems." President Wilson looked at the assembled team. "What's our next move?" Dr. Rodriguez stepped forward. "I've been analyzing the technology data we gathered. There are other species who resent Trilaxian dominance of the Council. The Palaxians, the Dorvan Republic, even some Veldorian colonies. We can build alliances." Jack Nelson nodded. "I've already established secure communication with contacts I made on Nexus Station. There's more discontent in the Council than they want to admit. So we create an alternative," Shaw suggested. "Not a council that controls, but a coalition that cooperates." Linda Collins was already drafting a message. "We'll need a name that resonates across different cultures." "The Independent Worlds Initiative," General Peters suggested. "Aye." President Wilson stood. "Make it happen." The Council thought humans would be easy to control. They're about to learn how wrong they were. As the meeting ended, Shaw walked to the window overlooking Washington, D.C. in the distance. He could see the Trilaxian ship that had first arrived, now kept under guard. It was a reminder of how quickly everything had changed. Earth faced challenges ahead: trade disruption, potential conflict, council spies. But for the first time, humanity was truly part of the galactic community, not as servants, but as equals. And across the stars, other worlds were watching, wondering if they too could be free. 6 months after Earth's refusal, the planet faced challenges but stood strong. The Council's quarantine had cut off official trade routes, but smugglers and independent merchants still found their way to Earth, drawn by unique goods and the promise of fair deals. In the new headquarters of the Independent Worlds Initiative in Geneva, Ambassador Shaw looked out at Lake Geneva. The building had once housed international organizations. Now it served as the center for humanity's new role in the galaxy. "Ambassador, they're ready for you," his assistant said. Shaw entered the conference room, where representatives from 5 former protected species waited. The Pelaxians with their 4 arms and reflective skin, the Dorvan with their tall, slender bodies, the plant-like Terravines, and 2 newer allies, the insectoid krill and the energy-based luminary. "Friends," Shaw began, "today marks the official founding of our coalition. No longer will any of our worlds bow to council demands." Kreb, the Pelaxian who had helped Jack Nelson at Nexus Station, spoke first. "The council has cut supply lines to our homeworld. Our people struggle, but they would rather face hardship than return to servitude. Earth will share its agricultural technology," Shaw promised. "No one in our alliance will go hungry." Reports from across the galaxy showed growing unrest. Minor council members questioned Trilaxian leadership. Protected species studied Earth's example with hope. Dr. Rodriguez had established research exchanges with allied scientists. Together, they developed new technologies that didn't rely on council patents. "We've completed the communication network," she announced later that day. "We can now talk with any allied world without using council relays." In orbit, General Peters watched as Earth's defense fleet grew stronger. Some ships were built on Earth, others contributed by allies. Pilots trained together, learning to combine their different fighting styles. "The council underestimated us," he told a group of cadets. "They thought we would be easy to control because we're young. But our youth gives us strength. We're not tied to old ways of thinking." On the Trilaxian homeworld, the High Council met in emergency session. Minister Zorax faced harsh criticism. "Your handling of the Earth situation has been disastrous," Elder Calvin said. "Now we have rebellions spreading through our protected worlds. We should crush them with military force," another minister suggested. Zorax shook his head. "We tried intimidation. It failed. The humans are more resourceful than we expected." Back on Earth, Linda Collins oversaw cultural exchange programs that built understanding between species. Music, art, and ideas flowed freely among the independent worlds. "We're creating something new," she told students from multiple planets. "Not just resisting the council, but building a better alternative." Jack Nelson's network of contacts had grown into a formal intelligence service. Through them, he learned of a critical council meeting. "They're divided," he told Shaw. "Some want war, others are considering the new approach." 3 days later, a council diplomatic vessel arrived at Earth's orbit. It carried Kelthera, the Veldorian trade minister who had first welcomed humans to Nexus Station. In a private meeting with Earth's leaders, Kelthera made an unexpected offer. "The Council wishes to establish formal diplomatic relations with Earth," she said, "not as a protected world, but as a sovereign power." President Wilson raised an eyebrow. "This is quite a change from your previous position." "Reality requires adaptation," Kelthera replied. "Your coalition grows stronger. Several full council members have expressed interest in your alternative arrangement." Shaw exchanged glances with his team. This was the opportunity they had worked for. "Please convey our message to the council," Shaw said. Earth will consider your application for membership in the Independent Worlds Initiative. All species are welcome, provided they respect our core principles of sovereignty and fair exchange. Kelfarah's eyes widened at the diplomatic reversal. Earth was not begging for recognition. It was offering the Council a chance to join them. As the meeting ended, Shaw walked through the gardens with his team. "Do you think they'll accept our terms?" Linda asked. Shaw smiled. "Eventually, the galaxy is changing." Above them, the stars shone brightly in the night sky. Somewhere up there, ships from a dozen worlds traveled freely between independent planets. Scientists from different species worked together on new discoveries. Cultures shared art and ideas without fear or control. Humanity had shocked the Galactic Council by refusing diplomacy on their terms. In doing so, they had created something better: true cooperation among the stars.